This is Lady Anne, owner of KPNL Radio and hostess of the Caravan Library of Lore, and I support TESA. As an experiencer myself, I have filed my own reports with them, and the professionalism and heart they have shown my case goes above and beyond. If you have had an experience, I cannot recommend TESA enough.
Hi, this is Ernie Hudson, Winston Zedmore from Ghostbusters. I want to let you know that Ryan Stacy, he's created the Experiencer Support Association, TESA. You can check them out at www.tesacan.org. Now, they investigate paranormal, UFO, and provide support to experiencers. But you can check them out at, like I said, www.tesacan.org and see for yourself if they're really Ghostbusters. I can tell you this, they are a non-profit organization. Good luck, have fun, and keep it blessed.
Good evening. You are listening to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, a podcast by the Experiencer Support Association. TESA is a UFO, paranormal, and paracryptid investigation association. We investigate everything belonging to the global phenomenon linked to highly strange and unexplained experiences. We also connect experiencers with other experiencers, creating a safe, positive environment to engage and discuss this phenomenon without judgment, criticism, or retribution. From the land of the white rolling sands on the southeasterly tip of Georgian Bay, to all of you listening around the world, as we simulcast live on KPNL Radio, we salute you. If you want to go back and listen to our previous episodes, go to youtube.com/the Experiencer Support Association. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be instantly notified when we are live, not only for these episodes, but every single element TESA has to offer. On our website, tesacan.org, we have something for everyone. We have support for experiencers, data for independent researchers, and places to advertise for professional partners. This live portion of the show will run for about 45 minutes. We'll have a commercial break and then spend some time answering some of your questions in the comments. The show will continue immediately after on Patreon for our private members, so head over and become a member for the unclassified tier and receive additional content from this episode and so much more for only $7 a month. To all our Patreon members, you are awesome, and thank you for helping us heal the world. All proceeds go back into the mission and will continue to help us create educational content for you and your family. Become a member today by going to patreon.com/the Experiencer Support Association. Also, if you're joining us live on Facebook or Twitter, head over to our youtube.com/the Experiencer Support Association if you want comments read out in the chat. We're only answering questions on YouTube, so head on over, hit that subscribe button, and start chatting. If you can't stay for the entire show, don't worry. Every Monday, we will upload the audio file to our podcast network for you to take us on the go. Okay, you ready? Let's get started. Was my mic?
What's happening? What's happening, Ryan?
What's happening, man? I feel like my intro was muted. Was it not?
Yeah, I couldn't hear it, so I didn't know if anybody else could hear it. But
No, all right, let's try this again. So, good evening. Today is January 21st, 2021, and I am Ryan Stacy, your host for this evening. Our guest for Season 3, Episode 1 is Danny Whitson. Danny is a professional magician and stand-up comedian from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, with a passion for magic, comedy, and meeting new faces with every show. For the past 15 years, Danny has been entertaining people with cards, coins, ropes, and anything else he can make disappear or crack a joke about. He has entertained all over the Southeast at comedy clubs, festivals, Fanboy Expo, and corporate events with a nice balance of stand-up comedy about everyday life and silly but mind-blowing tricks. Danny has performed with Kevin McDonald from the sketch comedy show Kids in the Hall and has opened for Dr. Bill Bass's Body Farm lectures. He's also performed for companies such as Bush's Baked Beans, Waste Connections, and All Meds. He has been featured on Traffic Jams and Jokes with WIMZ 103.5, Mental Floss, The Chive, Blank News Magazine as Knoxville's Magician. In 2015, Danny helped break and set a new record for the Guinness World Record for the longest comedy show, and he also has a podcast called Abracadam. So, put on your tinfoil hat, Danny. We're about to get down a rabbit hole. How are you?
doing good, man, and you nailed it.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about the audio thing. I'm new here. So, you're doing well?
Doing good, doing great.
Good. How's Tennessee?
Tennessee is not bad. It's the weather in Tennessee is always a little unpredictable. Today, we're in the 50s, so not too bad weather for January. So things are nice.
That's good. It's like -8 here Celsius. Lots of.
I wouldn't know what to do with that kind of cold. So that's what makes, I guess, Canadians tough.
I was going to say the only thing you can do is freeze, but yes, we're tough. Yes, totally tough in these igloos that we have here. So I got a question. How did you get into magic? How did magic start for you?
I was kind of a late bloomer. I mean, I was in my early 20s before I actually got serious about magic. I wasn't one of these kids that got a magic kit growing up and had always had the interest. I didn't have that kind of upbringing. My dad was kind of a trickster, but he wasn't a magician. So, I kind of always had the interest kind of in magic. But no, basically I walked into a magic shop and a magician just blew my mind and I caught the bug. That's been it ever since. I had to learn.
What did he do? What did he do to give you that?
Well,
bump?
what he did his name and he did a card trick that just blew my mind, and then just one thing after another. A lot of the basic kind of stuff. But I remember coming back and I was like, I gotta know how you did this. I gotta learn. So he'd show me a trick and then he pointed me out to a book. And, there you go. I'd buy a book. So basically I'm self-taught and just out of books. And that's been, it's insane. But,
can you write your own book now?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I do actually plan on writing a book of my material. I'm kind of on the fence. I don't think it would be released for the public, but I would want to keep it for just in case, when I'm dead and gone, my family or my grandkids or my great-great-grandkids could see some of the methods of my insanity. So.
Okay. Well, I'd read it. I'd buy it. I'd be interested in that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of my act now is unique to me, and you won't see other magicians doing the act I do, but once I'm gone, those tricks are gone. So that's why I would like to get it to some type of print somewhere eventually.
Right on. That leads me to my next question. What would you say your biggest challenge would be as a professional magician?
Oh, well, there's several. I mean, like, you mean performing or right now during virtual or?
I guess magic in general, like just the whole element of it, in trying to convince the audience that magic is real. What would it be?
Well, this is okay. People, I've never been one of these people that I'm not the kind of magician that stands on stage and portrays like he's towering over his audience or better than his audience or more powerful than his audience. I'm down here on your level and I'm just some schmuck doing tricks. But the definition of magic is where magic is a real thing, and because magic is an emotion that you experience whenever that moment of, well, what the hell hits, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a magician showing you a trick. It can literally, everybody's had one of those moments. Everyone has had that something, whether you were thinking about macaroni and cheese and then all of a sudden you stepped in a big old pile of macaroni and cheese, that's magic. So I mean, everybody's had those moments, maybe not necessarily that one, but it's we've had those moments. I haven't had much trouble with people trying to convince people what I do, and I don't convince them like, no, really, I have special powers. I don't do that. But the main thing is, if you watch my show, you need to forget about all the rationalities and everything. You need to just sit down and relax and have fun and go somewhere. Go on the ride that I'm going on. You know what I mean? But for the most part, every now and then you'll run into these type of people who don't like to be fooled, or there are those people out there. And I mean, okay, if you don't like it, get out of here. I mean, I don't beat around the bush. If you're being a jerk, I'm a jerk back. I'll call you a name. All right, let's get out of here. I had I showed a guy a card trick one time, and he tried to fight me, and I probably should have let him flush first, but he was just, he's kind of a jerk.
Well, so I
don't show card tricks in the John, kids. That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. Yeah. So he is a magician and he is a comedian. So those two go hand in hand. I personally like magic. I've always been fascinated with magic. I know a few card tricks actually myself that I haven't done in a while. But maybe when we get into the Patreon and we're showing some magic tricks, maybe I'll do one for the audience. But and you can judge me. But what was I going to say? I've always had that analytical mind, right? I love watching magic, but what I love the most about it is I can't figure it out. So I'm always thinking like, I know there's a trick, but good for you.
There's something. This is the thing, and I don't think some people will understand this, and some people will not. And it actually took me a long time to understand this. Like you have heard the saying that ignorance is bliss. Mm-hmm. We've all heard that saying. And right now we live in the information age where literally you can find out anything you want to know about everything, you freaking spoiled little brat. You know what I mean? Anything you want to know is like floating out there at your little fingertips. Back in my day, I had to hang around a library. Some people, and I had to hope somebody smart walked by and asked them a question. But now it's not like that. So the information is everywhere out there. To me, I think now more than ever in history, not knowing some things is a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. You don't have to know the answer to everything, and it's just like when we look out in the universe, you look out in the stars, you look out in the space, it's so huge we will never know everything out there. We'll never know that. But there's something beautiful about it whenever you look out there. So there's something about not knowing, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I totally understand that, and that kind of ties into my next question, which is the deep one, because we need to, the experiencer, our people, really, need to be able to determine some things, and whether it's meant for entertainment or meant for harm and things like that. So this question here is, what are your beliefs around the paranormal? And what are your thoughts about mediums, psychics, and can we trust them, or is that also a form of magic?
Boy, that's a tough one.
I know.
Tough.
Sure.
Well, this is the thing. Okay, this is the thing. I know some medium tech. I know some cold reading techniques. I mean, in serious magicians, you study a little bit of everything, and so I'm familiar with a lot of techniques. So I can watch. I mean, I've seen some people on television that I just thought were complete frauds because I know exactly the technique that they're using to get the information that they need. And the biggest mistake that anyone makes, okay, including myself, is you don't give people credit for being a master of their craft. The con man will con you out of your socks because you think you're smarter than he is. That's not the case. That con man's been working that con for 40 years. And then here you come, Captain Know-It-All. Well, you're losing your money. Mm-hmm. Now, let me say this. Do I think, honestly, I mentioned earlier those little magic moments that we have. Do I think there may be something? Because I had an aunt, and I don't know, but it seems like everybody's got that one weird aunt, that's predicted things and would say weird things, and you're like, holy, how did she know that? I had an aunt like that. And she wasn't a medium. She didn't charge anybody for her services, but she would just pop off with some of the most insane things, and it would come true. So, it's a weird place for me because I do think it's not a black and white answer. Is basically what I'm getting at. There's a lot of gray area with this because I think there are some people that could possibly have some type of ability. That's a possibility, but then there's also a ton of con artists out there, so you have to be careful.
Are there any? No, I agree with you, and that's why I asked that question, because I myself am always, having a hard time. I've been recently diving into psionics and mediumship, and I've been studying it a lot recently, and it just coincidentally our show tonight lines up with my research too. So I just thought that I throw that in there because it is a possibility. And do you have any tips or any suggestions or any markers that you think would be like a dead giveaway if someone needed to decide right then and there whether or not to believe? Well,
a lot of times, I mean, and you're going to see a lot of mediums do this, but they ask questions that demand an answer. Mm-hmm. So there's, you could trace things back to like a form of misdirection. If I want you to look somewhere, I can make you look anywhere I want you to look just by asking you a question that demands an answer. Mm-hmm. So a medium, and this becomes a trained skill that they can do. They can, they ask you that question, and also they, like a lot of things, will play on the emotions of people. So you're dying to better words, but you just really want to make contact with a loved one. Mm-hmm. And so there's already that emotional connection. So you're looking for anything that may relate to that individual that you're trying to make contact with. You know what I mean? And at the same time, though, they're picking up, every bit of info they can. Now, there was this medium that in Tennessee for a long time. He made a lot of money off people, a whole lot of money, which is weird too. That, to me, that's the number one side. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, we all got bills. We all need money. Heck, I don't work for free. But if I had this gift that you could talk to your papa, or you could talk to your, some loved one, I wouldn't be so outrageous expensive that, only the rich could afford, my services. And this guy also had a 2-year waiting list. Okay. Now think about this for a minute though. Now you're an investigator. So think about this. Let's say you were running a scam, a mind reading, a medium scam, and you just told your customers there was a 2-year waiting list. Now, they didn't actually exist, but you told them that. Now, what could you do during that 2-year time?
Oh, I could research them. I could investigate the hell out of them.
You could learn
and watch everything. Yeah.
Yes. So, I thought this is the perfect scale, man. This guy is, I have a hard time taking, that this is not a scam. And, I've even done things to where I have done tricks that have hit so personal for people that they would swear to God that I was psychic, and I'm not. It's just that, keep in mind, a magician is somebody who will go the extra ridiculous, unfathomable mile just to fool you. Okay. So, that's the closest I'll come to tipping a magic trick, but that's okay. Imagine something that no sane person would do. Okay. Well, the magician has already done that, and just to get that fool out, out of the magic trick, that fooling. So,
but
you can't say this.
I was just going to say that even in fooling me, like that is understood as entertainment. Right. I want to be, it's like me going to a haunted house because I am paying to go in because I want to be scared. Right.
Absolutely.
So there's that expectation. So I agree with you on all that. So I guess we could come to the conclusion that the motive would need to be analyzed. And yes, money is needed. And I agree with that. But like if you to compare to that as an investigator, I charge when I investigate factual things that I can get substantial and physical evidence for. So I will charge for custody investigations. I will charge for anything that could end up in court because I can prove through the process that will give you a result. I don't charge for this because I can't guarantee a result or a solution. So the trouble that I've always been having is whenever I come across a medium or someone who claims to be psychic, it's like, will you do it for free? No. Oh, why not? Well, I need to make money. Well, yeah, but there's other ways you can make money, right?
Well, to me, it's and then, like I said, I can't say every medium out there is a scam because that's something I've had to divorce my way of thinking from, because as a magician, I had lumped everything, like I had put everything black and white. If it's not if science can't explain it, then it's fake, and I'm no longer on that train anymore. I do have an open mind, and I think there may be something to it for a select few people, but I think the majority of people, and there also may be those people that buy into their own BS, which is possible. You can get into something and you may believe your own BS, and I'm sure those individuals are out there too. But also, like I said, I want to backtrack a little bit and just say there might be legitimate psychics. There might be.
I believe that there are, and I do accept the money exchange thing because it is something for your time. But
$200 an hour, get out of here, man.
Or yeah.
Oh, no. I don't mean, don't even say $200 an hour. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about this guy was like 10 grand. I mean, it was like,
could he guarantee a result?
people who went to see this guy would come back and would be completely convinced. Now, granted, I had never met him, I never, anything, but apparently celebrities flew into Tennessee just to see this guy. He had his own private airport for him. I mean, this guy had a lot of money. And, but here's the other thing. Let me also bring this up.
Yeah, go ahead.
If if you had a loved one pass away and you're looking for some type of comfort, I don't see anything wrong with maybe visiting a medium or psychic if it makes you feel better. But granted, you need to be careful because it could turn around and be an expensive hobby.
Yeah, because then that's the way I see it too. It can be used as a tool to help with the symptom, so that way you can feel better. But the exchange at the beginning needs to be understood. What exactly it is that you're paying for, and if you understand that it's an audience or entertainment aspect, then it's okay to charge for it, as long as that's like negotiated at the beginning. Like, I'm on the fence with my feelings on it, mainly because I haven't had the chance to study someone. So one day I'm hoping that I will come across someone who is humble enough and actually understands and is confident enough to go through a little bit of private testing, so that we can enforce that, or encourage that, or support that, and verify that, to represent that small group of psychics and mediums that are unfortunately attached to this stigma. So if any of you guys listening to that are still here, unless we lost you all at the beginning there, they're still. I'm still looking for the right one, but they're hard to find. So my next question, I guess, to lead into that is, how do you feel about magic with a K? So like the dark magic, and how, are you interested? Does any of that dabble in between what you do? Does that get mixed up
Well, I'm primarily, comedy magic, and but now I have I'll never forget people I'll say this, I love spooky magic. Okay, let me call that it. In magic and illusion, it's called bizarre magic, and there's actually magicians out there that do just strictly bizarre tricks, and I mean, trust me, they can do some things that would really freak people out. But the magic with the K, I mean, to be honest with you, I've never really went down that road too much. It's never really been my thing. I've got some people in show business, some friends that are like Wiccan and some of those things.
So yeah, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, I respect anyone's religion or anyone's belief system, in that situation.
So magic with a K is simply, the best way to describe that is, it's science that we don't understand. So magic with a K is just basically the science of alchemy, of doing magic, of doing your magic, your sleight of hand, right? Yeah. Whatever way you deliver your trick, whatever your conceal is, however your method is, that is a science, a scientific method, some sort of a method that I don't understand. So therefore it's called magic, because like that's what it's implied. So magic with the K is the same, except it's more science based. And we can get into voodoo and things like that too, depending on how far we want to get into this. Should
have brought my voodoo doll. I've got a Danny Whitson magic and comedy voodoo doll.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's in the show. I do a voodoo doll routine in the show. That's the live show, not the virtual show, though. That's okay. Another comment.
So I actually got we got about 15 minutes here before we get to our commercial break, and then we head over to the comments. I see a lot of people are commenting, which is great. If you're not on YouTube, we won't be answering your questions, so make sure you head over to YouTube / the Experiencer Support Association. If you have questions, ask them. We're going to be asking them after the break. I did some digging. I want to read an incident that happened on November 10th, 1950, in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and I want to know if you've heard of it. I just found this because I just cross-reference where you are, and I found this document, which is kind of interesting. So the report says on the 10th of November, 1950. Oak Ridge, Tennessee, redacted Oak Ridge, Tennessee, an employee at redacted Oak Ridge, Tennessee was interviewed, and he stated substantially as follows. At approximately 16:30 hours on 23rd October 1950, while driving on the Benton Valley Road, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, he observed an object over the Scarborough School, which is in the control area of Oak Ridge, at a distance of 1/4 to 3/8 of a mile from his position of observations. The object appeared to be between 1,000 and 2,000 feet in altitude and was described as an aluminum flash. It was traveling in a southeast direction. The object was dropping fast as it crossed the road and disappeared over a ridge. Redacted heard no noise in connection with the object. At approximately the time of this observation, a background Geiger counter located in the vicinity of this observation registered a reading for alpha and beta particles. Redacted with the Health and Research Division of the Oak Ridge National Laboratories has stated that a reading received on this background counter is unexplained. No international accidental release, which would give such a reading, were made during the month of October. So the radar station in Knoxville, Tennessee, has not reported a radar sighting on that date and time of this observation. So that's new to me? Is that lore and local stuff in your community?
Actually, I just learned about that maybe a couple years ago, and the thing that is so amazing about that story is, well, first, I mean, that just adds more truth to it to me is, especially in 1950, Oak Ridge was an absolutely no-fly zone. No one flew over this town because this is due to the nuclear, plants in the lab, Oak Ridge National Lab. For people not familiar, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, didn't exist before World War II. This town did not exist. This town was part of the Manhattan Project, and they found out of complete secrecy. Basically, people were sent here, scientists were sent here to live and work on the Manhattan Project. So between Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and Los Alamos, New Mexico, is where the nuclear bombs were being built. With also, there's a pattern of UFOs being sighted around nuclear plants. But yes, I remember hearing this, and there's even more information. There's actually a recording out there about this. So, but now one thing, Oak Ridge is it's nicknamed the Secret City because literally it was a top secret project. No one knew about it. No one could get in or get out of this place. So it's you couldn't fly over Oak Ridge. A plane couldn't just fly over Oak Ridge. It couldn't happen, or none of these things. It didn't happen. Helicopters, nothing. So someone, and there was regular citizens, that lived here, that worked in the town, couldn't leave, but they worked at the plants. They did their little job, and then they went back home. And then you had your normal, grocery store workers, little stuff like that, But Oak Ridge, they said, the old saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, in Oak Ridge, it was keep mum. What you see here stays. So, which I'm shocked, probably why it took so long for that story to really get out to where people could hear it. But it wasn't until just a few years ago before the general public, kind of heard about this story.
It's interesting, 1950, so like 3 years after Roswell too. So like that's rather, in that same time period, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So I also did a little digging on the paranormal side. Have you ever heard of Alexander Inn?
Yes, I have.
So I have. So the blurb that I found here is the historic Alexander Inn, originally known as the Guest House, was built in 1943 during the Manhattan Project to house official visitors and was later used as a hotel. Today, the Alexander Inn serves as an assisted living home with so much history in one building. It's no wonder there's talk of paranormal activity.